Cachorrites, I'm back for another El Cachorro Legacy of Monsters review. We now have episode 9 with only one more to go. This was probably their best episode of the show to date. Super high on this episode. We get a lot of really interesting story elements from the past and the current. So there's a lot of stuff, and there's some stuff that they could, I think that they hopefully are going to clear up some more information on. But very cool, very well story episode here with a lot of character building. So really enjoyed this one. Nine. We'll go 9. 8.5 to 9. I'm going to lean towards 9 at the moment. Because this is like really, very interesting episode. So we get a ton of good stuff here. We get really setting up for what hopefully is a great finale and leads to see where they're going to go. Where we obviously know where 8 left off was we had people fall through a portal, and then oh yeah, I remember what happened. To what we believe should be the Hollow Earth, which I guess the title of the episode is Axis Mundi, which I guess that's what they're calling the Hollow Earth. Don't recall getting the name, but hey, I guess so. It being named like that, I guess that's just for the show. I'm assuming they're all the way in the Hollow Earth. That makes sense. The curious how they were going to do that, because in the Godzilla vs. Kong, the Hollow Earth is really vast, amazing visuals, lights, and roofs on both sides and stuff like that. So I was kind of seeing how much they were going to spend on trying to for a TV series to flesh that out. And well, I don't think I really have any stills of this. They pretty much keep the characters that fell through in like a foggy forest, so you can't really see too far. Obviously, that's done to keep the production costs low with them not having to render, obviously, the vast spectacle that the Hollow Earth was in the movie. So they're clearly just trying to keep it foggy so they can kind of limit how much of it you get to actually see. Which, alright, I get that. It's fine. You got a TV series. You got to keep the price, the cost of the production down. Cool with that. Get some cool stuff. My prediction, if you watch my videos, is this a spoiler? I mean, it's obviously a spoiler. Assuming you watch my videos, it's a spoiler, but I might have predicted something. Pretty sure some other people probably already did that before me, but I didn't see their videos, so to me, I predicted it last episode. But let's get into the spoiler stuff so I can stop beating around the bush, shall we? So, review. Alright, so the scene opens, so the story opens, we're in the past. It opens with Shaw and Miranda talking to the little boy, the father, who turned out to be, obviously the father. Can't remember his name off the top of my name. Don't have my name thing put up. I think Koshi or something like that. But so kind of talking to him. This is obviously, now we're back. Now I think we're in the early 60s. I think 62 is what it ended up being. So obviously the mother has passed away, or well, disappeared, whatever you want to call it. Sucked down by the bugs, presumed dead. So they're talking a little bit about, the kid and stuff like getting him to eat. And Uncle Shaw's got to tell him that he's going away on a mission and he'll be back soon. And gives him his pocket knife to hold on to. Shows like, this proves you I'm going to come back soon because I want my knife back. We're not getting yours yet. So they have that little chat and they're in a trailer and then they come out and they apparently have this mission where they have like a big ball here, like a spaceship with like one of the little Titan balls at the bottom. The doctor from the other episode is now 100% working with them. Was it Suzuki? I believe was that Dr. Suzuki is what I want to say his name was. Or Hiroshi, that was the kid's name. Hiroshi. I think he's on the IMDb main crew. He's a small part, whatever the doctor's name is. So they are talking about how Kennedy and people are trying to. So the space race are saying is a decade to 2 decades away, but inner space is something we can go now. So they have a hole they found in, I believe it was Kansas. So they have a hole dug where there's one of the Hollow Earth portals. So the plan is to use the Titan because so somehow they've done enough experiments to know that you can't go through it. It's on its own. You need pretty much playing with the Godzilla and versus Kong thing is you need a Titan to lead the way. So the Titan stabilizes when the Titans go through the portal, it stabilizes the hole so that they could go through it. So their goal is to attract the Titan with the Titan bomb, to chase after the bomb, and then make a stability path so they can follow on through. And they have the crew here going with Lee Shaw being one of them. Not quite sure how they were figuring they were supposed to get back here, but I don't see how this thing is supposed to be able to do a return trip. So not quite sure what their plan was there. So they turn on the ball, they attract something big, and then when they get to the point, they drop it. And as it falls down, so they're trying to think everything's a success. All of a sudden, there's like a magnetic pull and vortex tornado thing going on where they fell through, and everything's going crazy. And they obviously do go through, but everything gets destroyed. And General Pat gets there because he was like hyping up the thing the whole time. And like, what went wrong? It's like, what happened? And he's like, Bill Rander's like, I don't know. So, but they went through the portal, but we don't know what happened. But so we find out because we know that there's an illusion that Shaw had something happen to him. So now we're getting to get in that backstory as well here, which we're going to explain something really good. So they're going to definitely explain something in detail coming up. From there, we go back to the present. Kentaro is in a hospital bed. He's with Tim and our Monarch leader chick, Vertigo, and she's telling them pretty much what happened. Shaw ignited another bomb. We also see a flashback where the Duval saves Tim from being found by the Kazakhstan officers. So she kind of, I guess, saved him, and then he's also on crutches, so he's been injured, and talks about how they've lost Kate, Shaw, and May, and that they're no longer needing Kentaro's services. His services with time of service working with Monarch is over, and so she pretty much tells him to go live his life, and it's like, just keep living, blah blah blah, go do your own thing. And then they leave, and Tim kind of has his Kentaro's mom's there. Runs over to him and meets him, and with Tim kind of looking back about wanting to kind of help him because he's asking for, we got to do something. And I'm going to do my best to try and order the episode here, but there's a lot of skipping around. So I watched it yesterday, so I probably should have watched it again before I recorded the video. So I might get some things out of order. So I'll go ahead and get this next scene out because I'm not positive where it happens. Is we see where he's back at home with his mom. His mom's trying to push him to go back to get his job back and back to work, and he's refusing to do it, and he feels responsible because he didn't help save Kate, and He never really mentions May, but he talks about saving them. But he seems to be more that he didn't save his sister. So interesting that he kind of didn't. He focused more on her than he seems like he kind of did on May. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And she says, "Well, do what you." Pretty much tells him, they won't help me anymore. It's like, well, that never stopped you in the past. So I don't think those two scenes were next to each other, but I'm just going to go ahead and get that out of the way. Then we go to Shaw waking up in the Hollow Earth or Access Monday. Or is it? Yeah, whatever they call it. Kind of waking up. He's a little shocked and starts yelling for Kate. And then we see a figure waking up behind him, and it cuts to that, and it's May. And she's waking up, and her eyes are all going. She's like having a hard time hearing and seeing. Everything's a little crazy. All she sees these lights lighting up on the ground coming towards her, and everything's getting around her, getting her brighter. And then Shaw comes out of nowhere and grabs her and jumps to the ground as lightning bolt strikes straight up. And so supposedly there's like some Hollow Earth thing going where there's lights come together, form a big thing, and shoot lightning in the air because of the portal. Something with the portal. So Shaw is familiar with it, so he's leading her through there to get out because he mentions he's been there before. And somehow he lands next to May, even though he fell in with Kate. But so they've decided they're going to look for Kate, and it's his goal. May wants to find Kate, and her big obsessed with finding Kate, which I don't know. It was like some dialogue here that kind of made no sense, like she followed me back or something like that. So there's like some dialogue here that didn't make a lot of sense because that's not how the last episode ended. Because the last episode ended with the timer going off and Kate running back out to the room where everybody was at, and the bug guy thing came out. May fell into the portal, and then the ceiling knocked the bug back to the thing to the portal, the Titan, and then the other two fell through the portal. So the dialogue here didn't make a little sense there, because about Kate came back for me or came back to follow. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that dialogue was referring to. It did seem a little off. But he's like, "Hey, I've been here before. We got to find Kate. We got to hurry up. We got to get out of here fast. We're running out of time." And she's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" Then we skip back to the past. We see Lee Shaw in the middle of a forest, all dazed, and he looks up and a plane's flying over his head, a jumbo jet. And he kind of passes out, wakes up in this isolated, kind of very remembers, if you remember Captain America, at the end of Captain America, when after they thawed him and he wakes up and they're in a room there, they're trying to make it look like the 40s, and he kind of breaks out and he finds out he's like in some kind of little containment system. So it's very similar to that. So he's got a couple people in there talking to him in Japanese, it appears like. Ask him his name, his rank, what does he know about Monarch, blah, 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 questions like that. And he just keeps saying he wants to talk to Bill Randa, get me Bill Randa. So then we cut to, we have two nurses at a nurse station talking that he's on a hunger strike and refusing to eat. And just happens to be one of these nurses is Kentaro's mother. So he won't eat. So it's like Christmas time. So she has Christmas cookie. So she takes a Christmas cookie and she sneaks it, gives it to him, and like, well, I won't tell anybody if you eat it. And he's like, it's not much of a hunger strike if I sneak and eat stuff. So he's kind of like, I'm doing this I'm not eating for a reason. It's like, I'll take a sandwich from Bill Randa. So the machines are making a noise. So she's going to check them out, and he starts talking Japanese to her, saying, he's like, "You're very kind and very sweet. I'm sorry for what I do." So he's got some like little cord he throws around her neck, and so he tries to go out. So he's going up and down the hallways yelling for Bill Randa, Bill Randa. And he sees like a CAT scan machine and a rocket launch going off on a TV set. Whatever rocket launch happened, it's like one of the main rocket launches where you got the jumbo jets and the little rocket shuttle thing on there. I don't know exactly what their official. It's like the most recent kind of rocket ships that we kind of had, since we haven't really gone back to the space since then. Well, I guess just to go to the space station. So he's kind of figuring things out. So he asks for Randa. Finally, we see a Japanese guy that's speaking English say, Bill Randa is dead. He died many years ago. And he finds out we're in 1982. So we've gone up like 30 years? Or was it supposed to be? I thought it says 2060. Yeah, 20 years. Sorry, 20 years. 20 years has gone by. So and Shaw still looks like himself. So now we got where the time gap came from. So it ends up being that this is Hiroshi. The boy's all grown up now. He thought all three of them were dead. He said, "Oh, I lost everybody. Everyone's been dead. That's been ever since 20 years since you disappeared." And Shaw kind of like it shows him the pocket knife, and Shaw kind of like blacks out again. So, was there a scene in between? There should have been a scene here, I think. Well, we see Hiroshi talking to Kintaro's mother. It's kind of showing where this is where that romance started. So this is obviously in the 80s. So that would kind of hint that she was the first one before his American romance. So Kintaro, I guess, is the first romance. So I guess Kate's family is the secret family. So he goes to talk to Shaw and asks Shaw what happened. So Shaw tells how they went through the portal, landed. They kind of see like through the window. You see like the flying Titan, which I believe is the same one we saw back in the Philippines. Was apparently obviously the one that they followed in. So they all go out. One of them died on impact or on recons or trying to contact the outside world. And then the Titan comes back and attacks them. They try to evacuate, and there's a scene where they show like the lightning bolts that we've seen from the earlier episodes going through the female team members thing. And then the Titan takes off, flies through a portal, and there's like a vacuum that pulls Shaw through it. And that's what pulls Shaw back out. That's how we got back to our world. And so here Hiroshi's just like, all right, well, Monarch is going to put you somewhere where they can study you and evacuate. So pretty much saying that they're putting him in the nursing home situation. And he's trying to like, we can do this together. It's your legacy. It's your legacy. He's like, my legacy died back in the past. So pretty much, so showing that this makes it sound like he's stepping away from the whole project. So he wants nothing to do with it. So obviously something else has to happen to bring him back in. Because obviously he's working with Monarch, and something's got to bring him back in. And then we see where they put him as Shaw goes into this nursing home. And then we have the time gap, like him and two other guys sitting there, and then we see him turn into Kurt Russell with the same two guys, also older, watching the TV, and then they're taking his pill, I guess showing that he's taking his medicines and medication and stuff. Which is very weird that so he would have been in that nursing home for 92, 2002, 30-something years, especially from being at that young of age. So it's pretty kind of perplexing that he would stay there all that time. And then they wouldn't try and work with him or anything like that. So that part of the story is kind of weird. Definitely kind of weird writing there. But he obviously shows him watching the newscast when Godzilla and the Muto fight in Honolulu, showing him that the monsters are back. So from there we go to Kintaro, or maybe like I said, I might be out of order here. Kintaro's at his dad's office trying to do some research, and his dad shows up. His dad's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" So his dad shows up. So the dad that saw his two kids together in the desert just shows up at his office, like continuing his work, like, "Oh yeah, sorry I didn't get to see your mom, or check and make sure you guys got home alive because you were there." Then Godzilla showed up. This guy's like, I don't know how they're gonna. If there's a way they could save this guy in the final episode, he's a grade level douche, man. This dude's a straight ass. So I was like, hey, nah, I'm just here doing my work. I don't know why you taking that stuff. It's not gonna help you. Whatever you're doing is not going to help you. This other blah blah blah. Like, dude, they casually bring it up. Oh yeah, I guess I got some explaining to do. Yeah, you kind of do. Kind of. We're just not going to tell the. You got to kind of tell the story of why you have two families. I'm hoping we're getting that story in the next episode. That kind of needs to be explained. Outside of you're just hopefully there's a reason for it, or you're just a grade level A level douchebag. So he's kind of like, oh yeah, I know you guys an explanation. You guys shouldn't have been there. What are you guys doing there? We're looking for you. Blah blah blah. So they're going off and on. And he goes, I just let me talk to you, and Kate does those things are going to help you. And that's where Cachorro tells him that Kate died. He doesn't believe it at first. Thinks he's just saying it to hurt him. And he starts blaming himself and falls in tears to the ground. And then we jump finally join up with Kate as she wakes up in the Hollow Earth somewhere far away from the people looking for her. How that works, I'm not quite sure. But we get our let's see, when we had the Titan thing with Shaw, it was kind of like a still shot. Really, it wasn't like some like slow mo still shot kind of things. So it wasn't an actual visual of it. But Kate wakes up and she's instantly greeted by Antler Pig or Boar or something. I don't know. It's a boar pig of some sorts with lots of tusks and teeth growing out of it, which I think there is a real pig that does have these tusks that grows out of its snout, and I believe they can curve. They have to. I don't know how they exist in the wild too well because their tusks can grow so long that they curve into and go into their forehead and top of their head and could pierce their brain. I remember seeing this on some kind of zoo something somewhere. But it kind of remembers that a little bit. Also, on the back of him, he's still got all these other antler-like growths on him. So he kind of walks up to Kate, sniffs her, then kind of walks off. So she starts to relax a little bit. All of a sudden, then he starts coming back. She tries to army crawl away from him, but he spots her. And I guess he's probably trying to say this vision's terrible or something like that. And he starts charging her. All of a sudden, an arrow comes in, hits him right in the eye, and makes him turn around and take off running. And this is probably where there's a little... So, like, we see the angle from behind Kate, and the pig's coming at her, and the arrow kind of comes into the eye. But then when Kate looks for the person who shot the arrow, she kind of looks right directly behind her, which was not lined up with where the arrow kind of came off. That should have been over to this side. She should have had to look over like that to find who it was, not like, who's that? Who shot it? So there's a little flub there. But the most important part is who shot the arrow. Dr. Kiko. Who I said I kind of some suspicion she wasn't. When she fell with the bugs, I had thought that we'd always go back to her, that she wasn't going to be dead. Like, no way she's dead. And they kept playing her off as dead. And I kept kind of having this feeling like, this feels weird. There's more to the story. And then the last episode, I was like, yeah, I'm betting, now that I found out that we obviously are bringing in the Hollow Earth into things, which at the time I didn't know that was a portal to the Hollow Earth. But as I started bringing in the Hollow Earth, that's where I was like, she's alive in the Hollow Earth. And I was right. So she's obviously looks the same. So obviously time is very slow here. So it's been, I believe they said, 56, 57 years since she's gone missing. So I guess she's been living down here for 2 months. So only 2 months has gone by in her life. There's a problem with this, though. This time thing that they've been talking about is a day in the Hollow Earth is 1 year of outside regular Earth time. Godzilla vs. Kong, we've had people go into the Hollow Earth. Granted, they kind of... I don't know if it was about the portals, because they went down there, Godzilla blasted a hole in it, and they came back out through the hole, which was like just the convenience way of getting... Which obviously for the plot was the convenient way of just getting Kong back to Godzilla so they could have the final Godzilla fight. So that's all that was a plot device. So maybe because they didn't exit through a portal, they didn't skip time? But then at the end of the episode, they go back to the Hollow Earth to take Kong back down there to live, and they're starting up the Monarch stuff there. Obviously, the next movies, the same characters for the most part are going to be working out of the Hollow Earth. I mean, I guess they're going to. I would assume they're bouncing back and forth. I'm going to assume this time travel thing's not applying to them. So they're kind of going to have to describe how this time travel, this time thing works, because this doesn't correspond to the movies. So I have to see in the final episode if they when they come back out. When I guess assuming that they escape the Hollow Earth, is there a time jump? Did they find a different way of leaving so it's not a time jump? A lot of questions on how this time wimey thing. It's all timey and wimey. How that's going to work because it doesn't apply to the movie characters. Is the going to be the problem? But I predicted she was going to. I had a feeling as soon as I found out it was a portal to the Hollow Earth, I knew she was going to be. They were going to find her alive. Now, obviously, I guess she'll return. She's going to get back with Sean. So she's going to. Kurt Russell about to get himself a younger woman, like, chicka wow wow. Because obviously Randa's dead, so now we can go back to her romance with Shaw. Even though Shaw's hypothetically 20 years. Well, not at this point. He'd be like 50 years older than she's supposed to be. How old was the actress for her supposed to be, anyways? Curious. The actress playing her. Japan grew up in London and Tokyo. She's completely bilingual. PA. You don't have her date of birth year. Just. So this is, she didn't appear to come off as super young. There it is. Born in 1986. 96. 06. Alright, so she's under 30. So I guess that would fit with the younger Lee Shaw version. So I don't know. Are they going to try and put them back together and let them two end up together as a romance? Even though there's like a massive age gap there, but okay. So, but I guess you could have them come back together. Obviously, we got to do something with Hiroshi. Hopefully, we need some backstory about the two family situation, why they exist, why he did. You'd have to feel there's got to be a reason for it. But I mean, are they really just gonna make him be some sleazeball dude that had two wives? You'd think there's gonna be something reason for that. I'm thinking the whole episode is gonna be some reveal about it. So hopefully we get that in the next episode. I mean, a lot of skits. I think we do get. I mean, obviously, I've seen like a little skit or something that should happen, but I mean, I assume everyone would expect Godzilla will be in the next episode. There's always been these little videos of him fighting the bat thing. So unless that was cut from something, I would assume that we'll get him versus the flying thing in the next episode. I can't remember what they end up calling that bat, but some kind of bat, dragon or whatever they want to call it. I've seen some people that have seen the episode already on Twitter kind of think there's some really big shock thing that happens, and there's probably going to be a cliffhanger because they're going to want you to. They're going to probably want to do a season 2, I would assume. So everyone will continue the show, which is awesome. As I said, I think I really like the show. I know some people online have bitched about it because, well, it's 2024. People bitch about everything. It don't matter. There's no such thing as actually fans anymore. It's just fans. Fandoms are all people that bitch about the things they're supposed to be fans of. Sorry, it's true. It didn't have enough monsters. It wasn't supposed to. This show's not about the monsters. It's supposed to be a character-driven show around Monarch, which is what it kind of delivered. I got the monster action I was expecting. I wasn't expecting lots of monster action in the show, and they've delivered that for me. We'll do a full, but I'll save that for when I recap the whole show. And people can get mad at me if they want. I don't care. I say what I feel. Say what I like. Don't like it. I ain't losing sleep. But so will we get anything? Will we get anybody we know? Sorry. So will we get any other Toho? Any other thing else from Toho show up? I think just Godzilla's gonna fight the flying bat thing. Would be from the skit thing, this trailer thing I've seen all the time. So technically, well, now I got the place. Now I can place it because it was always like you saw like the rainbow light thing for the portal thing around him. He's like felt like he was underground, but it kind of looked very similar to where Shaw landed when he went back to the Hollow Earth the first time. So it did kind of look like that spot. So maybe there. But maybe maybe that was just something they kind of made and didn't use or something like that, and we're going to get something completely different. The little tidbit that they add on to the describing the next episode already talks about Tim going to work with Kentaro. Obviously, I imagine this group will find Shaw and May, and then they'll have to have them escape the Hollow Earth. I would assume we're going to get that. Will they time travel? Will they come back at the present day? It's a lot of interesting things that you find out what's going to happen here. So, definitely eagerly waiting for this finale and to see where we go here. But just one last thing. I was right. I was right. I think everybody kind of, at this point, probably expected her to be alive. They had the feeling that she was alive. But, yes, like I said, this was a really cool episode. I mean, there were some things that obviously flops, like the whole conversation with May at the beginning didn't make much sense. The Hiroshi and Kentaro scene, the dad just comes off like really, really bad. I mean, we already kind of he's kind of been played pretty bad the whole time. Like then the desert scene, he took off on him like that. But hey, oh, I didn't care. Oh yeah, you guys wasn't paying attention. If you guys got back alive, I don't care what happened to you with Godzilla. It's like, dude, you're like worst dad ever. So, I mean, we had some. Kentaro's pretty much for the most part been an okay character. Kate's had some moments where it was hard to like her, especially early on. But as it went on, I feel Kate's been a fine character. May's kind of just been a really meh the whole series. That I don't know if the dad could be. I don't know. We haven't had that much of a character except for what we kind of. It's like there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason. But he's still not coming. We're meeting the dad. He's coming off pretty bad still. But hey, let's see what happens. I'm sure. Hopefully, we get some answers in the next episode. And like I said, we'll see what we get with Godzilla. Clearly, even if the scene I keep seeing is completely bullshit, Godzilla's clearly going to be in the final episode. There's like 100% chance he's in that episode. He does something in this episode. Question is, what else will we get? Anything? Will we get anyone else? Is the question. But this video has gone on for long enough, and 90% of you aren't going to watch it because, yeah, people don't. I'm a little itty bitty streamer. But and so let's tune in next week for the finale video. Till then, Cachorro out.